Hi, welcome to Olio, my show. My name is Susan Rushton, and before I go any further, I need, as always, to explain what oleo means. One definition is that oleo is short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl or rotten pot, which I just get such a kick out of. It's a Spanish-Portuguese dish with everything in the world in it, mainly pork, in all its iterations. Bacon, pig's ears, sausage, what else? Feet, probably, as well as chicken, chickpeas, cabbage, carrots, beans, and of course onions and garlic. As it's in other words, you know, everything except tuna fish and French fries. That's one definition. Another definition is that oleo is what comes in between acts of a melodrama. So you might have somebody juggling, you might have somebody singing, you might have somebody doing a skit, and none of it has anything to do with the other, with anything else. So in other words, it's apples, oranges, and a monkey wrench. So welcome to my monkey wrench. Today my show is, I'm privileged to talk with two people who are deeply involved with the area's history. And they are Dave Allen. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining me. And Dave's, may I include your email address?
Sure.
Okay. dsallen59@sbcglobal.net. And Shannon Weil, thank you. Shannon lives in Cool, and her email is, may I say it?
Yes.
Okay, COOLSWEIL@yahoo.com. Thank you very much for joining me.
A pleasure to be here.
Great. And I met Dave at the Pioneer Day in Meadow Vista in June, and I stopped, and you stopped talking to them and started talking to me about Native Sons of the Golden West. Their Facebook page is NSGW Parlor 59. About the Native Sons being involved with the Western States Trail Museum. There is a Western States Trail, and now there's coming up very soon, you've said, this close to the Western States Trail Museum. First of all, what is Native Sons of the Golden West?
We're a California fraternal historical society dedicated to education and preservation of California history. We were founded in San Francisco in 1875.
You've said this before.
A few times.
Shared this information before. That's wonderful.
And in Auburn we started in 1885, and what's interesting is the building we meet in Old Town Auburn, we used to meet in that building in the 1880s, and we bought it in 1986.
Wow.
So it is our meeting hall.
Now where is that?
It's in Old Town, just above the gas station, where the new tattoo parlor is.
Of course, I know where that is.
American Graffiti Tattoo is our tenant.
Okay.
And we meet upstairs.
Okay. All right. So look for American Graffiti
Tattoo.
Tattoo. Okay. And just because, if people are interested in joining Native Sons of the Golden West, who is?
How do you do it?
Yeah, but you said you were a
fraternal.
Fraternal, which means men.
Basically, yes. There are women that belong to other parlors throughout the state.
Okay.
Auburn parlor does not have women.
Okay.
It's a foothill thing.
Okay.
And we're open to native-born Californians.
Okay.
And you can call us at 530-887-1267, That is our parlor number, and somebody will eventually get back to you.
Great, great. And so one has to have a current, fascinated interest in the...
Yeah, California history is why we're here. We do a lot of community service activities as well, but we're very active throughout the whole Auburn community and Placer County.
That's wonderful. And Shannon, how did you are the secretary, right?
I'm the secretary for the Western States Trail Museum.
Yes. How did you get pulled in?
I come by way of being involved with the Tevis Cup ride since 1969.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a school of horsemanship, and they talked about Wendell Roby and the Tevis Cup ride extensively.
And horses.
And horses, and that's where I learned about it.
I can imagine that when was this?
I went to the school in 1967 for a year.
Okay, so when you were that age, you didn't care that much about the trails or Wendell Roby. What you cared about was horses.
Well, I cared about horses, and I saw that buckle, that sterling silver buckle, and I said, I want one of those. What's it going to take?
Do you have one?
I do.
Oh, good.
Yes. And so I rode the Tevis the first time in 1969 and didn't finish, and came back a number of years later in 1977, and I did finish that year. And that year there were 14 runners with the horses. And I looked at the runners and I just said, this run is going to be a hit, and I'm going to make sure it was. And so that's how I became a co-founder of the Western States Endurance Run.
Wow.
So I've seen that unfold for 50 years.
Wow.
Now.
These people are part of Auburn's history.
So I was a board member on the Western States Endurance Run Foundation for 33 years, and then retired from that and went on to found Auburn as the endurance capital of the world. And then when this opportunity to create a museum arrived, I just said, I get to do this all over again, you know, start something fabulous. So
now, how did this opportunity to create a museum arrive?
Well, we've been kind of kicking around this idea for a couple of decades. You know, it's been a long time coming. And Dave and I worked on another project together years ago that kind of fell apart.
Oh.
And
you're still working together.
Oh yeah,
well,
we
still have a sense of humor.
It wasn't our fault, but
oh no,
we have worked on many wonderful projects together over the years. He representing the Native Sons, me representing the Western States organization. So we work well together and know what to expect of each other. So that's always good. But this formed about. The Western States Trail Museum formed about 3 years ago, and it just sort of went nowhere for a number of years until about 2 years ago when Hal Hall became involved, who is now our president, and I stepped up to be on the board. Dave stepped up to be on the board, and we had enough great people that we knew that we could pull this off. And we have a wonderful board of very talented doers. We like doers, you know, people that do things.
Yes.
And so...
and when they say yes, they run off and do it.
They do it.
Right, yeah. And I'm one of those. Dave is one of those. And so our website, we have a wonderful website, and it's wstrailmuseum.org.
So say that again.
wstrailmuseum.org.
Western States, WS.
And we have a Facebook page that is Western States Trail Museum, and I frequently link a lot of those posts. I like to connect things. I'm a connector. With
a doer and a collector. Connector.
Yeah, and I like to link that with the Auburn Endurance Capital of the World pages, and you know, I like to bring things together. I like to connect people and build and grow things.
Great. So what's so important about well, for one thing, where is the Western States Trail Museum?
Well, it's going to be at 1103 High Street,
which is
in the same building where the Chamber of Commerce is located, in that fabulous old Art Deco building in downtown Auburn. And the Placer County Visitors Bureau occupies half of the building.
And right next to the left of the first one is all those umbrellas.
The umbrella, the Arts Commission has the park there. And then we are going to occupy 1,200 square feet behind the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So we will be 1103 High Street, Suite 300.
Okay.
And our entrance will be towards the back parking lot there. So we are inches away from having our lease signed, and it appears that it'll be on the City Council agenda. Mm-hmm. It's a city-owned building. On the 24th of July.
All right.
So we're very close. And
now I have a question. Do you anticipate any problems?
No.
Of course.
I don't.
But every problem has a solution.
I don't. There aren't problems. There's only challenges.
Okay. What I'm leading toward is: do you need people who are interested in the area's history to leap into that meeting?
We welcome that, but we can't really. We've been surrounding this whole issue for a couple of years. We have so many things ready to go, except we need a signed lease, and that has not occurred yet.
Right.
And we're so close. It's we just have one little snag that we have to work out, which we can do. But after that, then everything breaks loose, and we get to move forward, and then the fun really begins. So we will be cleaning out the space.
Oh, what fun!
Redoing the electrical, the HVAC, the heating, air conditioning, the little plumbing and things like that, and then we'll get it cleaned up, painted, redo the floor, just kind of make it this wonderful shell, and then we can start placing, building walls, and start setting up how displays are going to go in,
and so you have displays.
Well,
ready.
We will build them. We will build them, and the trail actually starts in Carson City and goes over the Sierra Nevada mountains to Auburn and then down to Sacramento.
Okay.
It was once the Immigrant Trail, and then Wendell Roby, who is our
God.
I'm a Wendellite, he changed the name to the Western States Trail, and that's why we have the Western States Trail Ride, the Western States Endurance Run. So we will be covering much of the flora and fauna, the geology, the Native American history, the Nisenan tribes, the gold rush, the mining, the advent of the Tevis Cup Ride, the Western States Trail Ride, the advent of the Western States Endurance Run, and how its popularity has grown exponentially over the years and brought in so many people to Auburn.
Yes.
I mean,
wow.
The run alone, the Western States Run, some people have shortened it just to states, but it is now attracting spectators from around the world.
Yeah.
Just to come and watch. From Thailand or Great Britain.
Wow.
They're coming to Auburn just to watch this race.
Yes.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So we need a place for them to come and visit and sort of just rub it all in their hair, in one museum, and just go, wow, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
The museum will ground all of this history that has taken place out on that trail. And the Western States Trail is one of the last Trans-Sierra trails, continuous trails, that's left.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really important. And we spend thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars every year out there maintaining that trail.
When you say we, you mean the Western States Trail people?
Yes, the runners, the riders, anybody that's interested. They have work parties where 60 people will go out. Years ago, I started a raffle for the run, which has now made $1 million, and money from that raffle goes to buy chainsaws, hard hats, trail work tools,
the shirts people wear,
all sorts of things. And we, a trail disappears if it's not used. And we have made sure that trail is alive and well, including after the mosquito fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usable now.
Good.
And that trail was burned to crisp for 20 miles in September.
Wow.
And now it's all usable. And what does that mean? That means that from the trail back 50 feet on both sides, all of the timber has been cut down and removed so that there's no chance of anything that was burned falling across the trail and injuring anybody.
Wow.
So it's been a massive project. I mean, 60 and 70 people at a time would go out on a Saturday and work on the trail. Pretty significant.
Wow. So, Dave, this is fabulous, and the two of you are working together, devotedly, seriously. Is there? And this is work.
Oh,
this is work.
Yeah.
I don't go out there.
You don't what?
But
I don't work out
everybody
there.
works in their own way.
But we all work in our own way.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. But and I can understand that work comprises of what a body is obliged to do. Play is what a body is not obliged to do. This sounds a lot like work for someone who is not involved. But
we call it plurk.
Yes, but for someone who values the history of the area, of where we are, this sounds like play.
It is play.
It is play.
Native Sons first got involved in 1931 with Wendell, of course. Everything the Native Sons have, the fact that the Native Sons didn't fold once upon a time, we can look at Wendell and a few others who basically kept us alive during some of our darker periods. The 4th of July parade that many people just saw, there was a nice, beautiful stagecoach in it.
Oh,
well, it was ours. It came from Wendell.
Huh.
We've had our hearse out, which people have seen. It's because of Wendell. Our building is indirectly because of Wendell. And so he kept us alive for quite a while. And so I like to look at it as Wendell kept the Native Sons alive, basically started the ride, and is definitely involved in the starting of the run. So it's almost, I don't want to say a museum to Wendell, but he had his fingers.
It's his fault.
It's his fault.
Yeah.
He had his fingers
He is the origin.
and everything, and many of us have learned from that.
I might add to that is he passed away in 1983, and the last time I saw him, he put his hand on my shoulder and looked me square in the eye, and he said, "I want you to promise me to stay involved with the Western States Trail." So I am fulfilling my promise to him.
Yes.
With love from the heart.
Yes.
Yes. I feel very grateful to him for teaching us, showing us, giving us a hand, pulling us up, showing us how, supporting
this is what
us.
could happen.
Yeah,
and you can do it.
And when we were young, I think I was 32 when I got involved, 29 to 32, some in that range.
Yeah.
When I got involved, I went to work for him at the Hart Federal Savings and Loan. And he was so supportive of everything I did and thought of and everything. I mean, when I said to him in 1978, "Wendell, I think Auburn should be the endurance capital of the world," he says, "Oh, that's nice, honey." But it actually happened in 2003. And it's...
You hear that? We've been so surrounded by Auburn is the endurance capital of the world, and it's your fault.
Yeah, it was my idea.
It's your
1978.
idea. Wow, wow, and I can also imagine that Wendell, being the person he is, with his hands on lock, you were not the only person. He said, You know, Shannon, I hope you will keep doing this.
Yes, I've never heard anybody else say, yeah, he said that to me too. I've never heard that from any of my close friends that were around him. But we all got the message.
Oh, sure.
You know? We all got the message.
Hal Hall, who was our chairman, was told by Wendell when he joined the company, I want you to join the Native Sons and straighten them out. Hal came in and told Wendell, yeah, they're doing fine.
Okay.
And eventually we finally figured it out. It was several years later, but it took a while for us to evolve and change.
Yeah.
And we have. And we've made incredible improvements in the last 30 years, from getting more involved in local history to being involved in the community, and the county, the city, and many others look to Auburn Parlor for, basically, we're cheap. We will work in the city, do various things for them. They call us for money, they call us because we're cheap labor too. So quite often,
well, they're contributors.
That's safer.
Yeah.
We're contributors, as many people are, but we're just another resource to this whole whole puzzle.
I have to report another story about Hal Hall. And his mother, Florence, had years ago, Wendell Roby would go on K-High Radio every Saturday and talk to Gene Regal and tell stories. And his mother had the wherewithal to record all those stories, all those radio shows, So we actually have recordings of Wendell's voice, which like Kathy Perry, Hal Hall, and I, who all worked with Wendell at the same time.
Kathy's on our board also.
Kathy Perry represents the Western States Trail Foundation. Okay. When we hear his voice, I could see us all kind of go, Wendell's in the room, I mean, you just sort of stood up straight when he was around, And, but Hal's mother saved that precious history that we can listen to now. And I'm sure many of those recordings will show up in the museum.
Yes. Yeah. Now, we are in the 21st century, and we're talking about essentially the 18th century, the 17th century, and before. I can imagine, and I beg your pardon, I'm sorry I can imagine this, that there might be a variety of people who come here and learn about the fact of the Museum for the Western States Trail and think, so what? What would you respond to
we
them?
We change that. Here's the deal, is that the trail creates so much excitement. You get out there, and this has always been the way, ever since I've been out there. When you get out there, you're on the trail, you're with your friends, you're in nature. It's like being in a human car wash. All your worries are left back in your car. You get out there, and then you have this heart connection with people immediately. They could be a doctor, lawyer, a woodcutter, a teacher. They could have come from any profession in life. But when you're out on the trail, you're all the same. You're all human beings. You're all feeling this heart connection. You're being energized by this magnificent trail. And what we call that, when you finally get into that, we call that the Western States family. Because you have become a part of something that's very, very special. The Nisenan tribe have a wonderful saying about the trail. We are learning from the Nisenans their heritage and their knowledge of the trail, and meets with our knowledge of the trail, and we're coming together in the most beautiful way. And when I heard how they refer to it, it just gave me chills. And they said, "Can you hear the trail speak?"
Well, yeah, you're right.
Can you hear the trail speak? So, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And there's so much gold history out there that gold is the finest metal to be a conduit for energy, you know, for transmission of energy. And I'm telling you, I really feel like we connect with that.
Great. Yes.
You know, it's magic, you know?
I can tell me the slogan again, Denise and I.
Can you hear the trail speak?
I can imagine seeing.
Can you hear the trail speak?
I can imagine seeing that on the wall.
It is.
That's what it's supposed to be.
It is. It's. I'm already using it in our graphics. I'm a graphic designer, and I have been making retractable banners, and incidentally, I just put up, I'm just having, it's at the printer right now.
I love this. I just love this. There's a lot to talk about, and she interrupts herself. She sounds like me.
So the Western States Trail Museum is on the Heritage Trail Tour for the Placer County Museums, and we are being highlighted on July 22nd, and we're going to have a coming soon display at the Placer Visitors Bureau at 1103 High Street. And I have created this 9 feet by 6 feet high display, 3 panels representing the history of the Western States Trail.
From July 22nd from 10 to 4.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been working on that. I've probably put 80 hours into this display, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Yes. Yes. So again, the website is up and running, right? Even before the museum is up and running, but they know where they want it to be. wstrailmuseum.org, and there's a Facebook page, the Western States Trail Museum on Facebook, and these people are enthusiastic and have been enthusiastic even before the idea. Even before the thought of having a Western Trail Museum came to be.
We have Western States Trail dust in our veins. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And the history of all this thing is what we're all looking for, because when people come to Auburn, they think of gold. That's what drags people here, and then our museum will be able to show there's more than just gold.
And I have to give it.
But excuse me, gold has many meanings.
That's true. It's not the little nugget.
Yeah, right.
There's more than gold, just gold.
Yes.
Before we go, too, I have to give a shout out to Terrell Reed, who was she really kept this whole project kind of alive. The coals, she fanned the coals for years when nobody was really interested in working on this, and Terrell was the one that really kept this idea going until we finally were able to ignite the fire.
Good for you. Good for her. Okay. Western States Trail Museum. wstrailmuseum.org. I thank my guests. Thank you very much. This has been wonderful. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again.